We often think the greatest mysteries belong to the past, but in Oceania, they are still being written. Quiet islands continue to reshape themselves over time. Ancient rock formations still preserve the traces of a long-lost world. And through it all, nature has never stopped completing its own story. If the Earth has never truly stopped changing, then perhaps its greatest mystery lies not in the places we are about to visit, but within the very planet humanity has long believed it already understood. Had this volcano been only a few hundred meters taller, Bora Bora might never have existed as it does today. It was the ocean that quietly rewrote the island's destiny long before humanity realized it. From above, Bora Bora appears as an almost unbroken ring of coral reefs embracing a lagoon that shifts from deep blue to turquoise and pale green. It was the island's slow subsidence that allowed the coral reef to keep growing, creating the iconic landscape and the overwater bungalows now famous around the world. But the ocean has never stopped shaping this place. A 2020 study found that after only a few weeks without human activity, fish populations at tourist sites increased noticeably. More recent surveys have even used white sea cucumbers to monitor the health of the lagoon's sediment. Beneath the crystal-clear water, coral reefs, stingrays, and blacktip reef sharks share the same habitat, reminding us that the island's beauty has always been inseparable from an ecosystem that continues to evolve. Behind the lagoon's tranquil surface lies the power of an ocean that once swept away the entire outer coral reef. Even this paradise is not exempt from nature's unforgiving laws. Bora Bora captivates with its gentle beauty, but it is the ocean that ultimately determines the fate of this small island. In the vast waters of the Great Barrier Reef, Whitehaven Beach attracts nearly half of all visitors to this natural wonder. But what makes people stop is not simply the crystal-clear water. Hill Inlet unfolds like a living painting, where ribbons of white sand merge with turquoise water to create swirling patterns. With every changing tide, these natural designs are completely transformed, ensuring that no two moments on the beach ever look the same. This constant movement has made Whitehaven one of the world's most recognizable natural landscapes. Few people realize that the beach's brilliant white sand is composed of up to 98% pure silica, yet it did not originate on the island itself. Geologists believe the sand was carried by ocean currents from distant lands before gradually accumulating over tens of thousands of years, forming the famous shoreline admired today. Stepping onto Whitehaven, the first impression is an almost complete sense of silence beneath the vast open sky. Occasionally, the sound of a passing boat engine or seaplane interrupts the stillness, reminding visitors that this natural paradise now shares its space with hundreds of thousands of tourists every year. Whitehaven's greatest mystery is not the color of its water, but the very sand beneath your feet. It crossed the ocean from a distant place before becoming one of Australia's most iconic landscapes. Whitehaven reminds us that sometimes the most extraordinary thing is not the beauty before our eyes, but the quiet journey that created it. In the middle of the Pacific Ocean, Lord Howe Island appears as nothing more than a tiny green speck. Yet beneath the island lies the remnant of a vast ancient continent that sank beneath the sea long ago. What people see today is only the highest point of an entire forgotten world. The remains of that lost world can still be found across the island. Lord Howe is one of the few places on Earth where tropical coral reefs and temperate ecosystems exist side by side. Offshore, Ball's Pyramid rises straight from the ocean like a giant spear, while on the island's mountain peaks, moss-covered cloud forests continue to cling to the landscape despite a changing climate. Ball's Pyramid also holds a remarkable secret. The Lord Howe stick insect, once believed to be extinct, was unexpectedly rediscovered alive on its steep cliffs. Meanwhile, scientists continue to monitor the plastic that seabirds accidentally bring back to the island from the surrounding ocean each year. Perhaps that is why the island's silence leaves the deepest impression. Only a small number of visitors are allowed to stay at any one time, allowing the sound of the waves and the island's slow rhythm of life to preserve its untouched character in the middle of the Pacific. Beneath the blue waves lies a continent long lost to the sea. This tiny island is merely the last summit still rising above a vast world hidden beneath the ocean floor. Sometimes, the greater part of an island's story begins with what disappeared beneath the sea. Milford Sound is a fjord carved by glaciers during the Ice Age, with waters reaching depths of 880 feet. Towering granite cliffs rise almost vertically, enclosing the entire fjord. Here, nature still retains the untamed character of thousands of years ago. What makes Milford Sound truly unique lies beneath the surface. A dark, tea-colored layer of fresh water blankets the sea, carrying tannins from the surrounding rainforest and limiting the sunlight that penetrates below. These rare conditions allow black coral forests normally found only in much deeper waters to thrive close to the surface, creating an ecosystem found almost nowhere else on Earth. Whenever heavy rain arrives, hundreds of waterfalls cascade simultaneously down the towering cliffs, transforming the entire fjord into a landscape that seems to belong to another world. Rising dramatically from the water, Mitre Peak stands as the iconic symbol of fjordland. Standing in the heart of Milford Sound, the first thing you notice is the silence of a place that has remained largely untouched by human hands. The cool, damp air clings to your skin, while the immense cliffs surrounding you create a profound sense of insignificance, of feeling the Nai Tahu call Wairua, a deep spiritual connection with the land and the water. Yet beneath this magnificent beauty lies a silent danger. A landslide large enough could generate a tsunami within minutes, turning the entire fjord into a trap with no escape. At Milford Sound, every secret that is revealed reminds us that nature is always deeper than what the human eye can see. Rising to 12,200 feet, Aoraki/Mount Cook is the highest peak in New Zealand. Surrounding it is a national park where glaciers continue to shape the landscape. This is a place where the legacy of the Ice Age still remains. Vast U-shaped valleys, glacial lakes scattered with floating ice, and the Tasman Glacier together form one of the Southern Hemisphere's most complete glacial landscapes. Amid this dramatic scenery, the Mount Cook lily blooms across the alpine slopes, while the kea, the world's only alpine parrot, appears along hiking trails like a true resident of these mountains. Yet life here is just as fragile as the beauty that surrounds it. A survey conducted in the 1990s found that many kea carried dangerously high levels of lead in their blood after chewing on materials from human-built structures, serving as a warning that even the most remote mountain regions cannot escape the footprint of civilization. The weather at Aoraki can change within just a few hours. Crossing the glacier means navigating deep crevasses and slippery ice, while the Sealy Tarns track challenges every step before rewarding hikers with a rare sense of silence beneath the dark skies of the Southern Alps. In 1991, a massive rockslide removed dozens of feet from Aoraki's summit. In a single moment, nature quietly redrew the highest peak in New Zealand. At Aoraki, the glaciers continue to write history, and every mountain reminds us that no summit is ever truly permanent. Some places preserve history in books. Karijini preserves it within layers of stone. Every canyon wall here is a page of memory that has existed for more than 2.5 billion years, from a time when Earth's atmosphere had not yet become rich in oxygen as it is today. Walking through Karijini is like stepping into a landscape painted by time itself. Bands of deep red iron-rich rock interwoven with shale and dolomite curve into towering gorges, preserving the marks of the immense forces that once deformed the young crust of our planet. Each rainy season, water slips through narrow cracks before cascading into emerald pools hidden at the bottom of the canyons, where time itself seems to move more slowly. Yet what draws scientists to Carragini lies deeper than anything the eye can see. The neighboring Pilbara region still preserves ancient stromatolite fossils, the remains of some of the earliest microorganisms that helped produce oxygen on Earth. These remarkable traces have transformed the region into a natural laboratory where NASA has tested technologies for searching for evidence of life on future missions to Mars. Amid this ancient landscape, Fern Pool continues to flow in silence, while the Banjima people have long entered its waters quietly to pay their respects to the spirit of Warlu. The secret of life's origins may not lie on a distant planet. It has been preserved for billions of years within the rocks beneath your feet, long before humanity ever appeared. Perhaps the first chapter of life never truly disappeared. It has been waiting all along, quietly preserved within the ancient rocks of Carragini. In the heart of Nambung National Park, thousands of limestone pillars rise as high as 13 feet from a vast expanse of golden sand. The landscape resembles the ruins of a vanished civilization, yet its true origin is far stranger. Across the desert, the limestone formations take on countless shapes, from sharp spires to massive rocks resembling gravestones or giant mushrooms. They stand out against sand that is constantly reshaped by the wind, creating a landscape that is always changing. Seen from orbit, the surface reflects sunlight so intensely that it has become one of the brightest natural features on Earth, used by satellite programs to calibrate their sensors. What few people realize is that these stone pillars did not begin with volcanoes or flowing lava. They formed from ancient seashell deposits buried beneath sand dunes, which gradually hardened into limestone over time. Nearby, Lake Thetis still preserves colonies of stromatolites, living fossils, that help scientists study some of the earliest forms of life on Earth. By day, the intense heat and harsh sunlight make this land unforgiving, but as evening falls, cool sea breezes sweep across the desert, while spring awakens carpets of wildflowers, and kangaroos and emus appear in a landscape that seems to contain nothing but sand and stone. Hidden within this desert lies a secret born from the sea. The towering limestone pillars before you are, in fact, the remnants of ancient seashells, telling the story of a world that disappeared long ago. The pinnacles remind us that sometimes, the last traces of the ocean are found in one of the world's most extraordinary deserts. Wave rock has existed for approximately 2.7 billion years, making it older than most landscapes humanity has ever known. In the middle of Australia's arid interior, a giant, stone wave stands frozen in place, as though time has never passed. Yet it has never been a wave at all. From a distance, wave rock resembles an enormous ocean wave curling just before it crashes to the ground. Its perfectly curved rock face is streaked with bands of red, orange, yellow, and gray flowing from the crest to the base, creating the illusion that water is still quietly cascading down its surface. Few people realize that these colors are not produced by minerals alone, but also by ancient layers of algae and cyanobacteria that have gradually developed across the rock over time. Research has shown that wave rock's distinctive shape was not carved by the wind. Instead, it was formed through chemical weathering deep beneath the Earth's surface hundreds of millions of years ago. Before being gradually exposed as the overlying soil eroded away. It was photographs published by National Geographic in 1967 that first introduced this natural wonder to the world. Standing at the base of the formation, the harsh sunlight causes its colors to shift with every change in perspective. The rough texture of the rock beneath your feet, the constant buzz of flies in the dry heat, and the profound silence of this sacred landscape create an experience that is both awe-inspiring and deeply humbling. This rock has stood for 2.7 billion years, quietly witnessing oceans disappear and continents transform. Beside it, the entire history of humanity is little more than a fleeting moment. Wave rock preserves not the power of the ocean, but the deepest memories of our planet itself. Champagne Pool is not an ordinary lake, but the remnant of a hydrothermal eruption that occurred only 900 years ago. In the heart of the Waiatapu geothermal area, its surface continues to boil every second. An ancient source of energy is still active beneath the Earth's crust. The first thing to capture every visitor's attention is the brilliant orange rim surrounding the pool's turquoise water, resting against layers of pale gray silica. Yet these vivid colors are not created by living organisms, but by metallic minerals continuously precipitating from the supersaturated water. At the same time, countless carbon dioxide bubbles rise relentlessly to the surface, making the entire crater resemble a giant glass of champagne in constant effervescence. What is even more remarkable lies beneath the surface. In 2007, scientists discovered an entirely new genus of bacteria capable of growing by using hydrogen and oxygen in an environment rich in toxic compounds, providing new clues about how life may have existed on the early Earth. Walking along the wooden boardwalk, the rising steam, the scent of hydrogen sulfide, and the constant sound of bubbling water make every step feel as though you are moving closer to the heart of this geothermal system. Beneath what appears to be a calm surface lies a microbial world that has evolved along its own path for millions of years. Every bubble that reaches the surface carries traces of an ancient history. Champagne Pool reminds us that even the harshest environments can become the birthplace of extraordinary forms of life. The trail stretches only 12.5 miles, yet it crosses an entire volcanic world. Tongariro Alpine Crossing leads hikers to Red Crater, where fire, ice, and Maori culture coexist on a landscape regarded as sacred. At first glance, this place seems far too harsh to support life. Geothermal vents continuously release plumes of white steam. The turquoise emerald lakes lie beside the dark red slopes of Red Crater. And volcanic ash, craters, and glacial valleys unfold one after another within just a few hours of hiking. Yet this seemingly barren land quietly continues to sustain life. In April 2024, environmental DNA surveys confirmed the presence of the rare North Island brown kiwi, along with young toa toa plants taking root in the unforgiving volcanic terrain. Walking across Tongariro, cold clouds can suddenly engulf the mountain peaks. Geothermal heat still rises beneath your feet, and the crunch of loose volcanic rock reminds you with every step that this volcano has never truly fallen asleep. As the mist slowly clears, you realize you are standing on the southern edge of a vast volcanic chain stretching across the Pacific. Nature here has never truly been at rest. Tongariro is more than a trekking route, it is a journey through the geological and spiritual heart of New Zealand. By day, Mount Yeser appears as little more than an ash-covered hill rising from Tana Island. But as the last light of day fades, its slopes begin to glow from within. It is in that moment that the earth reveals it has never truly been asleep. Mount Yeser stands only about 1,200 feet tall, roughly the height of the Empire State Building, but its size has never reflected its power. Its nearly circular crater, measuring about 1,300 feet across, has been erupting almost continuously since Captain James Cook first recorded its activity in 1774. Many scientists believe this eruptive cycle may have persisted for nearly 8 centuries, while the neighboring Yenkahi uplift continues to rise at one of the fastest geological rates ever documented. From a distance, Yeser appears as a barren gray cone standing in a landscape almost devoid of vegetation. After nightfall, enormous gas bubbles burst within the magma, curling glowing volcanic bombs high into the sky. Each explosion also creates brilliant white vortex rings that flash into existence before quickly fading away, making even the invisible shockwaves suddenly visible. Standing on the crater's rim, the ground trembles with every explosion, while deep, rumbling blasts resonate through your chest. The air is thick with the smell of sulfur, heat pours from the cracks beneath your feet, and every breath reminds you that an ocean of magma lies only a few steps below. As clouds of hot ash are blasted skyward at speeds exceeding those of a jet aircraft, there is little to do but stand in silence before such overwhelming power. The most terrifying thing about Mount Yeser is not the towering columns of fire, but the feeling of the earth moving beneath your feet, each eruption experienced through your own body. As the volcano's roar gradually fades, another landscape will begin telling the story of time's quiet and patient power. Wakari is one of the very few places where people were once allowed to stand directly on the crater of an active volcano. The landscape is both mesmerizing and deceptive. Here, silence has never been the same as safety. Wakari is only about 1.2 miles long and nearly 1 mile wide, located roughly 30 miles from the mainland, about the same distance as the journey from downtown Manhattan to Greenwich. Few people realize that this small island is merely the exposed summit of a volcanic system that has been forming for more than 150,000 years, while most of its structure remains submerged beneath the ocean. Stepping into the crater feels almost like entering another world. Groups of visitors in bright neon jackets stand out against the gray volcanic ash as they walk past boiling acidic pools and sulfur vents that continuously release clouds of white steam. The scene is both surreal and strangely captivating, making it easy to forget that the ground beneath your feet is still alive and moving. The thick smell of sulfur fills every breath, while the hot volcanic ash can sink as deep as your calves. The acidic air makes each inhale increasingly difficult. And when superheated water trapped beneath the rock suddenly expands to 1,700 times its original volume, the entire island can become a giant pressure cooker in an instant. The true danger of Wakari is not the lava you can see, but the invisible forces quietly building beneath a crater that appears to be at rest. Yet nature still holds many other secrets, where peaceful beauty conceals laws even more unpredictable than these. With every mystery uncovered, the Earth seems to grow even larger, and perhaps that is the greatest reason to keep exploring.